So I'm excited for you because if you're watching this video, obviously you've built something amazing and you're wondering, what do I do next? Where do I deploy it? All of those things, right? Now, in this day and age of learning, you can easily ask your AI agent. So yeah, if you're watching this video, you just want an expert's guide. So, no problem. So deployment for Vibe coders, what do we do? Now, firstly, we have two different platforms, two different type of apps you might want to build. Most people want to go for the web app because web apps are easier, very easy to deploy. It's very, very simple. No app store needed. What does this mean? App Store, you have Play Store, App Store. These are platforms where you can actually, of course, if you're using an Android, if you're using an iOS device, you know that there's a particular place you go and you download apps from. Those people, anybody who deploys an app there has to pay to use them. So right now, on the App Store, sorry, on the Play Store, it's $25 one-off payment. On the App Store, it's $99 every month. That's why a lot of people run away from deploying mobile apps. But if you go on their platforms, you can check online and you actually register and follow all their processes, you would have finished the first step, right? So let's go into it. Now, where do you host your app? Now, when it comes to mobile web apps, basically, you can use Vercel, Railway. These are platforms your AI agents are going to mention when you are talking to it. Now, I personally love Firebase hosting more than any other one, but a lot of people go for Vercel. But the truth is that Vercel at scale is very expensive. Firebase hosting is actually just good for you to just wet your feet and play around with it. Now, in the long run, some people talk about having your own VPS server and things like that, but don't care about that right now. Look for the most simplest way to actually just push your app and get it out there for people to start using it. So any of these platforms will work. You can tell your AI agents and it will help you out with it. So, but let's go to the next thing. How it actually works. Now, most times your entire process or the best process will follow this part. Now, you push your code to GitHub. Now, if you're somebody who vibe coded an app and you don't know about GitHub, there's a problem. Right? GitHub is a platform that basically is like a storage section for your code. Now, there are other things it does, but the basic thing it does for you right now is that it can store your code. And why will you need to store your code? See, when you're vibe coding, you cannot trust your AI 100% to not make certain mistakes. And I'm sure if anybody who has vibe coded before, even when you're starting in the beginning and you're just playing around, sometimes you might just tell you to do this for me, do that for me, and it will change something that you did before. And if you do not have a place where you are storing it, like different versions, you have a problem. So it's a very good tool. Now, that's one of the basic things. There are other things it can do for you. As you keep growing, you understand them. But for now, you mostly push your code to GitHub. And as you push your code to GitHub, right, you can connect your repo to Vercel. So you will go to Vercel, their website. They'll ask you to connect your repo to it and all of that. One thing I like to do when I'm trying to go through a website step by step and I don't understand stuff is that I will take a screenshot of that particular page, give it to my AI agent and ask it to just figure it out, tell me what to do next. It's as if I'm super lazy, but you can also try that out and say, okay, I don't know what to do right now. Tell me what to do next. And it will give you step by step. But if you are doing anything that is more inquiry in nature and you're trying to build an app, at the same time, don't ask those questions where you're telling your AI agent to build things for you. Use a different AI agent, maybe ChatGPT, or go on the web and use a different AI agent and then ask it those questions and let it guide you. Then most times you need to add environment variables in settings. What does this mean? Environment variables, are those your secret keys, like certain things that you don't want to be exposed that power your app. For example, if your app is connected to a particular backend, for example, Firebase, you would have certain configuration points that, are very sensitive that people should not have access to, or maybe you're connected to a particular API. You need to secure this thing. So most of these deployment platforms have a specific place where you can secure your code so that, or this is your secret keys, so that people or hackers can't get access to them. So these platforms already maintain these systems for you, so it's easier to work with. Then you click deploy and then you're done. So then after that, right, you would have to now click deploy and it's automatically deploy every single time. It's automatically deploy. So this is the best. This is pretty much the standard framework. Even for my app Visual PRD, I would always just push the code to GitHub and automatically, if I push to a particular branch, you can learn more about branches on your own, or you ask questions and I'll make a video. It automatically deploy to my front end. Do you understand? Right? So now one thing you can do is that you can tell your AI agent this. Give me a complete list of all the variables this app needs to run in production of Vercel. Include the variable names and what each one is for. This is one of the first things you can do. The second thing you can do is you can say, audit this code base for production readiness. What needs to change before I deploy to Vercel or this other platform? Things like that. Check for hard-coded secrets, missing error handling, and dev-only code. So that's code that is only for you as a developer. Now, if you know me and how I teach about building apps with AI, you know that this is a good prompt, but you don't just use this prompt to tell you, oh, audit my entire code base. You should break down the areas that you want your AI to handle. For example, you can say, audit the entire login system, audit this particular system, audit that particular system, because your AI has input limit, output limits, and it's not every single thing it can assume or assimilate. Do you understand? So it has limits. So if you think that, oh, it can just audit your entire code base and it will work perfectly, fine, but it might overlook certain things if depending on how big your app is. So understand this. So it's better you give it a concentrated focus. Right? The next thing is build errors. My Vercel deployment is failing with this error, paste the error. So now most times when you're building or you're pushing it out, you have errors. You understand? You can tell your AI agent to help you diagnose the error, or how can I check for the error so I can paste it into you, or so you can help me fix it. Things like that. These are ways you can actually work with your AI agent to deploy your app. You can also say something like, walk me through connecting my custom domain to my Vercel project, things like that. These are questions you can ask. Right? Now, the next thing is deployment surprises come from skipping the plan. Now, when you don't plan the architecture first, you already know what platform you are deploying to, every variables you need, what cloud services are connected before you write any line of code. Now, most of you know I've built a platform called Visual PRD, and I keep talking about it a whole lot because every vibe coder should be using this platform, right? Because what it does is that every single thing you need for your app, once you write out what you want to build as an app, right, it plans out every single thing for you. All the pages, endpoint schema, all the prompts, technical prompts that you need, every single thing. It breaks every single thing down for you. Security, etc. And you can just click export to AI agents and it starts building it out for you. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is this, right? I was reading this because I had to listen to my notes, right? If you don't build properly or you build scattered code, when you're deploying, you'll see a lot of errors, right? And that's not something you want to see. But now let's go straight into the next one. Now, mobile, there are more steps. So now that's for web. If you use those steps for web, it's going to work perfectly. For mobile, there are a lot more steps. Like I said, you have to get your Apple developer or Google developer account, right? For your iOS apps, if you want to deploy to iOS, you need a MacBook, right? And then your app has to pass the store guidelines. Then there are a lot of guidelines when it comes to, Apple and Google, right? But basic guidelines is that if you're trying to build an app that looks like another app or relates to another app, there'll be problems. There's some other guidelines that they have. Now, when you're trying to push to the app, that you might see some issues, even things in the healthcare space when it comes to building an app with money, things like that. So what I would say is this. You need to take out time and ask your AI agent, okay, what are all the guidelines I will have to pay attention to for this type of app I'm building? You can just give it a prompt like that and to give you a list of things you need to work with, and you can work with your AI agent step by step. If you get things like that, remember, don't just tell your AI agent, fix all these things, break it down. Okay, step one, this first thing you mentioned, give that AI agent, say, oh, can you fix this for me? Now, so I'm wondering that some people might be saying, oh, how do I give my AI agent? For example, here, this is my cloud code, basically IDE. And now you can download VS Code, any IDE basically, and then you can get cloud code as an extension. So if you go over to the sidebar here, right, I can click on cloud code, right? So basically all you have to do is go to extensions, and then you can search for cloud code, right? Or any other one. There's Codex, etc. All of them would work. So all you just have to do is you can just click on new agent. So once one agent gives you information, you go to another agent and tell it what to do, just in case anybody's asking, how do I have another agent and things like that. So it's good to use the terminal. I recommend this. If you're using Lovable and the rest, that's not really the best way to vibe code your apps. You don't have that much control over it, especially when it comes to the costs aspects. If you're using the actual model providers, you'll spend way less money. Now, let me go back here. So one thing or one platform I'm going to really recommend is called Fastlane. Right? Fastlane is a free service and it's amazing. It's one command you set up once. You can tell your AI agent to set it up for you, and it will help you push your app to the App Store and Play Store automatically. Now, what is Fastlane? Like I said, it's an open source tool. It's free. It automates code signing, right? These are a lot of things that are very annoying. App Store screenshots, uploading to TestFlight, a lot of things it does automatically, right? And if you tell your AI agent to set it up for you and give you all the steps, break it down for you, right? And you set it up once, it's going to be amazing. Just say, oh, deploy through Fastlane. Bam, it's done. Do you understand? So all you need to do to tell your AI agent to set it up is this. Set up Fastlane for my Flutter app. You can see the prompts and try and use it. These are all the prompts you can try and use. Copy it and then you work with it. Now the next thing is TestFlight and play internal track, right? So this is how you test with real users before going public. Right, so this for Apple is TestFlight. For the Play Store is called Play Internal Track, basically. Now with this, before you actually push your app for real users start using it, these are just methods that these two different companies have used. That you can now have any user you want to just play around with your app, test it, look for errors, and you just keep iterating, sending new builds. You just go back to your app and say, use Fastlane and deploy to TestFlight. Use Fastlane and deploy to the internal track. Things like that. Keep doing it. Like I said, use your AI agent to break down the steps for you. It will help you out a whole lot. So you can pause to read and look through the notes. Now, so more prompts for mobile. Write an app store description for my app. So there are a lot of things you can do. I wrote down a lot of steps here. I want to make sure we're moving fast. So you can pause to read. Now, deployment as an afterthought. Most builders finish the app and then think, where does it go? Your AI writes the code on your local machine, not production. Database URLs, API endpoints, auth configs, all wrong. You spent days, refactoring what you should have gotten right from the start. Now, what am I trying to say here is this, right? Deployment should not be something you should think about after you are done building your app. It should be something you should start thinking about from the beginning, because it can affect how you build, what you're trying to build, etc. So before you even start building, you can say, I'm building this app. It will be deployed on this or this or this. Or you can even say, what will be the best place to deploy it on, right? Write all the code with, with this production environment in mind from the start. Do you understand? So what does this mean? Most times, I like using Firebase as my backend, right? And I also deploy on Firebase for most of my apps. So because of that, I can say, help me set up my entire, I'm sure if you watch that, my 4-hour course, you see, help me set up all the env variables I need and connect to Firebase and all of those things. It automatically starts connecting it. The thing is that if you start building your app before thinking of some of these things, it can be quite messy, right? So yeah, that's very important. So these are your deployment prompt toolkits. Check it out, play around with it. You can pause the video, copy them, and take it to your AI agents. Right now, deployment isn't hard. It just has more steps. So I'll say this. If you want to plan properly for the apps you want to build from the get-go, check out Visual PRD. You can check out our Telegram community in the link below. Right? And if you want to work with me, contact me at my email. Right? Thank you so much.